Kimberly Guilfoyle joins us now, and it's good to have you on tonight. I want to talk about bribery in politics, which, is basically Democrats 101 at this point. Who cares about the debt? Get every American reliant on some form of government in one way or another.
Well, they want to make them dependent. They want to tell them what to see, what to say, what to think, how to live their lives, how to educate their children, what religion they should believe in. It's just complete mind control, and it's all un-American. But the Democrats are really failing miserably, one step after the next, while the president is actually gaining in popularity and support amongst liberals, Democrats, moderates, etc. Because we want our America back. We don't believe that the Democrats should actually be able to govern because they have failed to do so. So they should not be rewarded further. This has just been apparent. I mean, look at the juxtaposition of what we had under President Trump's economy. People saying, OK, let's have a president that actually builds the economy, establishes infrastructure, creates jobs, and actually trusts the American people to use their money and their funds to put it back into the revenue stream to create a booming economy. And what we've seen now is the Democrats literally have no other play in their book except to try to cripple people and tell them that they're not good enough and they don't know what to do with their own lives.
That's something else. I want to talk a little politics here and what's coming up here in a couple months. A slate of recent primary and special elections indicating that Republicans are losing some kind of steam as they get closer to the midterms. What exactly are you guys seeing?
I'm not seeing that. And I'm out, across the country and with the president and getting in donations, fundraising. People really want their country back. They have had it. They are tired of the bare shelves. They are tired of this communist approach where they're saying, well, we're just going to turn the entire country into a welfare state. That's not how it works. We want capitalism back. We want people to be able to open businesses. We want to encourage entrepreneurs. We want to have a tax structure that actually benefits all Americans, people that are working hard. Enough of this nonsense. Paying off loans for people that don't want to. They want to have some bizarre basket weaving, a degree, and they want all of us, people watching across this country, hardworking men and women, to subsidize their laziness and their inability to even try to contribute to society. People are tired of it. It's unfair, it's un-American, and it's not the way that this country should work. We are a capitalist, free market country, and that's why we're the strongest country in the world, unless we let these Democrats stay in. Right,
and we're giving a lot away right now. I want to show you a tweet from a guy with a huge voice, Ben Shapiro. He put a tweet out. I want to get your response to this. He says, there is a reason Democrats are eager to keep Trump at the center of the conversation. Half of independents say Trump is a major factor in their vote, and they're breaking 4-1 for the Democrats. Republicans shouldn't play that game. If they do, they are cruising for a bruising. What's your response to Ben Shapiro on that tweet?
Cruising for a bruising? I don't know about that. I'll tell you something. Independents are smart people, too, okay? They're hardworking people that understand the value of a dollar and understand how the economy and a free market works. So I'm actually not worried about independents. I see independents actually coming very strong, breaking for President Trump. And let me tell you something, Rob. We talked about this last week. Everything that's gone on here in this country, it is barbaric and un-American what happened to President Trump with this raid. The court system is going to be dealing with it. There'll be another ruling on Thursday. People care about this. Independents, Democrats, moderates, you should care. If they can ransack the home of the former president of the United States when all they had to do was ask for the documents, which he has been complying and giving, it is insane. This is weaponization, politicization of the actual FBI and the Justice Department, and it hurts every single law-abiding and free American that we allow this to go on in the country. And I'm thrilled that the judge is actually going to, I hope, appoint a special master in this situation to independently review the documents that were taken, go over the facts and the evidence, and stop this witch hunt once and for all.
You notice that today the DOJ announced they've gone through all the boxes from the Mar-a-Lago raid. I think they went through them more than a week ago. I do find it interesting, Kim, that it's been 3 weeks. They say they've officially gone through everything. We know how politicized this has been. There has been no big leak to the Washington Post. There's been no big, oh, my God, look at what we found in all of these boxes. I have to think that that would have popped very quickly if there would have been something, if there would have been a dagger in there. I think it would have come
Because
out.
you're a smart person and have common sense, like all the hardworking Americans that are out there watching your program, actually looking for the truth and the facts versus the spin that comes on these other networks of nonsense and fake news, who are really the PR and marketing arm of the Democrats. If there was something there, you would have heard about it, because they also are very fond of making things up. And then they lie, as you know, Rob, and said, oh, no, we didn't take his, passports. What happened? Of course they did. So that's why we need, and I've prosecuted many cases, and we use a special master to make sure there is an independent review. Ask the Americans and the viewers out there right now, do they trust the FBI? Do they trust the DOJ to actually be honest and forthcoming as it relates to President Trump? No, because it's one witch hunt after the next. They have lied before with the Mueller investigation and Russia. They spied on the president during his campaign at Trump Tower and said, oh, that's not true. And turns out, guess what? It was. So let's see if we can get some justice, some fairness, some facts, and some evidence, because it's what the American people deserve.